Hey guys, my name's Adam Christodoulou. I am one of Mercedes-AMG racing drivers, and today we are sat in the brand new Track Series. They've built only 55 of these. This is basically the celebration of 55 years of Mercedes-AMG, and we're starting to integrate things with some pretty cool companies. I don't know whether you can see, but if I take this off, we've got the Cube Control logo now on the wheel. I'll just show you there. They're a partner now, and so basically they're now building the real-life wheel that we have in the race car. So you can get this wheel also for the simulators now, which is really cool. Actually, the sim wheel has a few extra little buttons, but just to actually run you through it, like on the race car, we've got our drink system here, sorry, the radio, and then the drink system. We've got page up and page down for going through the dash. We've got the indicators left and right, neutral, window wipers, windscreen washer, the high beam, start and stop. We've got the flash, one of my favorite buttons, just to flash the lights, and then we got the pit limiter set to whatever it's set to, depending on the championship. It's quick release, so it just literally goes on, and that is it. And then to pull it off, you just pull this little gold latch at the back. Going down here, I'm just going to turn the main on and the ignition. This is just a show car, so at the moment we only have the dash just set at the opening stage, just with the branding. But talking a little bit more about the car, like the seat in here generally is molded to the driver. So there's a base seat, this carbon fiber monocell that you can see here, super strong, super safe. The car in total only weighs 1,400 kilos, which is less than a modern day Mini. But this Mercedes-AMG Track Series has 734 horsepower. It's the quickest thing that I've driven so far on the straights. Like, just to give you a bit of an example, at Mugello we're doing over 290 kilometers an hour, which is the quickest I have been in a race car. So just to talk through some of the controls. When you get in the car, basically we've got the pedal adjustment here. So we pull this little, what looks like a handbrake, and depending on how tall the driver is, this is really useful for when we do driver changes. Same with the steering wheel. We've got the adjustment to bring it forwards, backwards, up or down. So me being short, I normally have it quite close to me. Going down, we've got the brake bias here. So if you want more brakes to the front, you wind it towards the front. If you want it more towards the rear, you wind it back towards the rear. So we can use this to help change the balance of the car, and also to help with tire degradation, depending on how the car is feeling. We've got the fuel reset down here, so we do this during the pit stop. We've got map 1, 2 and 3. So in real life we use map 3 as our fastest map. Map 1 is the safety car map. We also have map 2 as well. We've got the brightness for the screen, and when I press the pit limiter button, we can see some of the LEDs across the top. We got the hazard, but generally we never use this. We got the lights, which I don't know whether you'll be able to see outside or not. If I turn them on, hold on, and then if I press the flash, this is my favorite button, as I mentioned earlier. So we turn that off. We got the rain lights, and then we got the fans as well, just to keep the driver cool. What you don't realize is when you're pushing something to the limit, all the heat from the exhaust and the brakes, the car starts to get hot inside. But we're lucky enough that the Mercedes is one of the most, let's say, civilized race cars out there. It's one of the cooler cars, just with the airflow and everything. These fans, basically, there's two huge scoops that go from the front of the bonnet to here. So the faster you go, the more cooling you get. So it's a good incentive to stay cool. The ABS, traction control, we've got 12 settings. And then we've got the ignition, main switch on, reverse. If you're using that, you've got a problem. And then we've got the mirror adjustments, like in the road car. And then we've got the fuel pump and the fire extinguisher. So that is basically everything in a nutshell. In this car, we've also got like a camera up here, and we've got the stylo system. We've got 2 seats in this car right now. So the second seat is an optional extra. And this is basically for instructors or passengers. And then with the stylo radio kit, it means that both the driver and the passenger can talk to each other, like in a rally car basically. We got the 5-point harness. We have quick release on absolutely everything. So when we're racing, especially if we're doing endurance, everything has to be fast. So a real fast pit stop can be done in around 14-15 seconds. And this includes doing the window net, the drink and the radio, doing all the belts as well as the driver getting out and then the next driver getting in. We've got all the quick release so we can loosen it all nice and fast. And it's just these little finishing touches which makes Mercedes-AMG such a successful brand, and this is why we've been lucky enough and to win so many races and endurance races, including the Nürburgring 24, Spa 24. Mercedes-AMG won this year. We finished second at the Nürburgring 24 hours, missing out by I think around 20 seconds after 24 hours, which was frustrating. I was one of the drivers in that car. And yeah, we've won many races along the way doing other championships as well. The finishing touch with the carbon fibre, and now we've got the bigger screen, are just some of the things that as drivers we've requested just to make it easier. Like, okay, the carbon fibre, this is just a beautiful touch. The bigger screen is for the drivers so that we can have bigger digits, bigger writing on the car. I'm quite low in this car right now, but actually what we can do, I'll see whether I can open the bonnet and you can see inside the engine bay, hopefully. So we're now obviously on the outside of the car. We've got obviously all these beautiful little details. We've got this carbon fibre little splitter here. Basically, as the air rushes over, it sucks the hot air from the center of the car. If you look over and in here, we've got a huge radiator in there, all carbon fibre, 2 huge fans, and we can lift the bonnet up. It's super light. It's made out of carbon fibre, the whole of this. This is the 2 big tunnels that I was talking about for the driver cooling. So the air goes in here, all the way down, through the filter, and basically the faster we go, the more air we get. Now looking into the engine bay, so this is the same as the Black Series engine, except we've managed to squeeze a little bit more power out of it, 734 horsepower. And obviously, because it goes on track, we need extra cooling. So we've got super large radiators in here, even bigger than the road car, extra cooling around, just to direct the airflow all the way through the engine bay, just to keep everything cool. We've got extra ducting for the turbos. So the air comes from in here somewhere. I'm not too sure. This is where the engineers do their magic. So we've got extra cooling from there to the turbos. And yeah, it's just, yeah, if you like carbon fibre, then it's quite pretty to look at. Going to the front of the grille, obviously we've got this massive opening now. And so we've got the brake cooling up here, but we've got extra intercooler cooling down here. And basically all of this is just maximized to keep the thing as cool as possible, all the brakes and everything. Like, you got to remember, we're slowing down 1.4 ton, but like at times this is doing over 300, or can be doing over 300 kilometers an hour. I think actually it's set that the maximum speed is around 320 kilometers an hour. It's just, well, basically it's 200 mile an hour, which is the, yeah, as I said earlier, it's the quickest thing that I've ever driven. And so, yeah, just all the little details, the little finishing touches. We've got the splitter that sticks out. So the larger the splitter and the lower it is to the ground, the more powerful the downforce from the front. It's the same with these louvers. Just a little bit of extra aero just here. All of this just produces a little bit more downforce. And then we go over to here. All the From the wheel spinning, it creates turbulence, but basically this, as the air goes over, it sucks all the air from inside the wheel arch out of the car. So again, it drags it down to the ground even more. So it creates a little bit of drag, but it creates a lot more downforce. Same with the splitter. The lower the car, the less turbulence. Actually, under the car, you won't be able to see, sadly, but it's a full flat carbon floor. It's built in a few different pieces, again, just to stop any turbulence. And this just, again, drags the car to the ground. It's the most efficient way to create downforce and less drag. And then as we go to the back, we've got the huge rear wing. So this, we've got 3 settings on the middle plane, and then we've got 3 or 4 settings on this plane as well. And so we keep it as static. So all of this just remains at the same level, but we've got the adjustment, which we can do manually, because generally race cars, you're not allowed adjustable aerodynamics. But and then we go to the back where we've got the beautiful diffuser, again nice and low. We still keep the 4 exhaust. The sound of this is incredible. So yeah, they've taken some of the silencers out because we don't need them for the track, and so the pops and bangs that you get when you change gear and if you're on the limiter is yeah, it's like an automatic shotgun. It sounds really cool. Opening up the back, we've got the safety cell for the fuel. So yeah, it carries 120 litres of fuel, and again, more cooling. This is for the gearbox oil cooler and also the compressor. The compressor is what helps it change gear. So when you pull the paddle, It fires like a shot into the gearbox, and it makes it a super fast gear change. And so yeah, it's straight, like instant gear shifts. Yeah, all of these details and finishing touches is what make this an incredible car. And as you can see, more carbon fibre.